Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Go-To Food Podcast, brought to you by Blink, the UK company revolutionising the POS game. And today we're joined by one of the greatest culinary minds in the country, a beautiful man in the 2 Michelin-star exec chef and owner of Midsummer House. It's had 2 Michelin stars, 5 AA rosettes since 2005, 20 years. It's unbelievable. Wait, he's also won Great British Menu twice. The legendary, the beautiful Daniel Clifford. Thank you so much for coming in. You've got service this evening.
Yeah.
You're still doing service?
Yeah, of course I am, yeah. Yeah, I still love it. Yeah, I'm still there.
Yeah.
I'm still passionate about it. I feel that, I hate going to restaurants when the chef's not there. And I think we're open 4 days a week. So it's my duty to be there 4 days a week. And that's what people are paying for. And to be totally honest with you, you're the orchestrator. So if you're not orchestrating it, it doesn't go the way you want it to be. So, we're still pushing that. We've had 2 stars for 21 years, but we still hope every year that we're getting better and better and better, and one day we're knocking on the door for the 3rd.
Can we get the 3rd star, please? What the hell is going on?
Well,
they're being stingy with.
We had Claude Bosi on recently.
I think
he said, "Why have you got the 3rd
tyres
star?"
are worn out.
Yeah, their tyres are worn out.
Yeah, they need to come to Cambridge. Yeah.
But do you think they're almost like, we know you're reliable, you're 2-star. We're gonna leave you there?
I don't.
Do you know what I mean? Like
no, I
don't
think Michelin work that way. I think.
You think they are through each year? And
I think you get an inspection. I think it's an easy tickle, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. And I think if they think you are climbing, I think they come back. And
yeah, right.
I think it's everyone tries to read into it, and it's problem. As when you're growing up in this industry and you're young, you're 18, 19 years old. It's like the Mecca, and you look at it and you think this is what world's about.
Yeah.
When we got our 1st star, it's what I'd always dreamed about. And I got it quite young, and then 2 years later we got our 2nd. I think I got the 2nd because I was so petrified about losing the 1st, and then it's sort of like, I think it took me like 15 years to believe that we were a 2-star restaurant.
Were you happy when you got the 2nd star, or did it terrify you?
At first, it was. If I tell you the full story, the full story is that on the Tuesday morning of that week, the phone goes, and I had a new receptionist, and she came down and she said, "Daniel, there's someone from the Michelin Guide on the phone," and this was the Tuesday, and the guide was out on the Friday, and it was Derek Bulmer on the phone. So I went outside, and it felt like the longest conversation of my life, and it felt like he was never getting to the point. And he's like, "Daniel, we've never met before." I said, No, it'd be nice to meet you. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, is he ringing me to tell we've lost a star? Because that's obviously your fear. That's all you're thinking about. You never think you're going to get 2 Michelin stars. It wasn't even on my radar. And then he's like going on and on and on and on. He said, "Well, Daniel, just to let you know, we normally phone people that's been promoted in this year's guidebook." And I just went cold, and I dropped the phone. And it was a portable phone, and the battery sprang out the bottom of it. And then I was like in panic mode, and I was like, what is that a hoax? Is that not a hoax? Yeah. So I phoned Michelin House, couldn't get through to Mr. Bulmer. He phoned me back. He said, "Daniel," he said, "that's the most bizarrest phone call I've ever had when I've told someone they've been promoted." And he said, "Yeah, you have been promoted." And it's weird because the year before, Rebecca Burr, who was the head of the UK at that point. No, she was number 2 for Derek Bulmer. She'd come in a complete year ago, the night before the Michelin Guide. And there was always this rumour going around, you know what it's like, the Michelin Guide, it's rumours, that the year before Heston got his 3 stars, they ate in the restaurant the night before the guide of the previous year, and then they were eating in ours, and I was like, it's that's it, because she'd left her wallet in the car, and we knew it was her, and she was having dinner.
I've tried that
and
so
then,
many times.
And then she turned around and she said, "I've left my wallet." I was like, "Oh my God, it's like 11:30 at night." And she'd asked to speak to me, and I was like, "Oh no." And then that was the year the Fat Duck got 3 stars. And then the following year we got our 2nd star. So it was
beautiful.
Yeah,
Did you spend the whole year then thinking about that, or was it only with hindsight? You're like,
to be honest with you, the restaurant went from doing 6 covers to 40 covers, and we had a team of 4 in the front and 5 in the back, and suddenly you're like into. I was doing the meat, the fish, the sauce, all the bouches, most of the canapes, running the pass, and obviously running the restaurant. And it made me quite an angry person, because I was like a meerkat. I was head down, push. And as soon as I put my head up, you'd see a mistake, and you'd be upset by it, and then you'd get, but the thing is, you couldn't spend too much time being upset because you had so much work to do. So it was just like a roller coaster of emotions.
21 years though, basically, with 2 stars. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah, it's good.
Everyone who comes on who's also got 2 stars in the country say they've never seen it so bad. I mean, how are you finding it? You're still cooking service every day?
I'm still there every single day. I think COVID gave us this. I loved COVID. I absolutely loved it. It was the first time I ever spent proper time with my children and my wife, and I went in every day to the restaurant, and we did a lot of internal maintenance, and that kept me sane going through what we were going through. But then the home life, I'd never had a home life before, and to be able to go home and cook dinner and look for like Easter. I remember the Easter Sunday, we had this amazing dinner, and I'd never experienced that. So that was a beautiful thing to experience, to have family time. And then you open and suddenly you're doing 40 for lunch, 40 for dinner. And I don't care what any one restaurant says. There's only certain restaurants in this country doing them numbers. The up and downness has always been, because we're outside London. But to be doing 40 for lunch and 40 for dinner, it's like, all right, this is serious now, right? Okay, heads down. And for 6 months, it was like full. So then you increase your team.
Yeah.
So suddenly, instead of having a chef that does the canapes and the amuse-bouche, suddenly you've got a chef that can do just the canapes. Yeah. And then you've got one doing the amuse-bouche. And the problem is you get all these people into place, and then it starts to slow down. Yeah. And then you're asking the guy that does the canapes to do the amuse-bouche, and he's looking at you like you've got 2 heads, even though you've only got 20 in for lunch. So you're like, well,
we got to make this work.
Yeah, we've got to make this work. Yeah. But what we're doing in this country is we're making the a la carte, and I saw Claude had touched on this, but I learned to cook properly. I learned the garnish section. If the beef dish has got 9 garnishes, you give them 9 garnishes. If the turbot's got 10 garnishes, you give 10 garnishes. At some points you haven't got enough pans. You're putting the spinach in there, and you're using the spinach pan again. And that's what made me the cook I am. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, that's what I love about cooking. I love that. It's like the stove is like a piano, and you're playing it because you know the sweet spots, and and that's why I love cooking, because you're in a zone. And you're untouchable. And for so many years at Midsummer, probably I would say, well, I actually did the meat section last year. So I still cook, and I still love that feeling. I can't stand the repetitiveness of doing the same thing over and over and over again. That just bores the hell out of me. Take me back to my Raskas days when I was doing 140 covers with 6 of us. And you've got 10 steaks all cooking in the oven, and you've got a Dover sole here and a piece of liver here, and you're on it. Yeah. But you're focused, and you feel invincible when you're at that moment. Yeah. And I think I tried to bring a la carte back, and then we did it for like 4 or 5 weeks, and I looked around, and it was just like, people were dropping, and it was like, we can't carry on doing this. And it's such a shame, because I don't think we're building chefs like we used to.
No. Are there places in the UK that you know of now, if you were a young chef, where you could go and still get that experience at that level of cooking, but where you're having to multitask and having to be everywhere all the time? Or has it gone out of...
I don't think it's gone completely. Claire still cooks like that.
Yeah.
But there's so many more staff. So I remember I worked for David Cavalier at the Bell at Ashton Clinton, and I was the potato chef.
Yeah.
And we had 12 main courses and 12 different potato dishes. And I'll be honest with you, if you weren't in at 6 a.m, you weren't ready for lunch.
Yeah, right.
And then, there was no break in the afternoon. It was like, right, heads down.
Straight through.
And, you'd work through, and you'd make sure, like a pomano, to make 15 pomanas the way that he wanted them is a 3-hour job. But the thing is the result on the plate was the most beautiful delivery of food. I look back at them pictures, and I just think to myself, we don't cook like that anymore.
Yeah, interesting.
And that's what I think we're missing. I think we've got so many more techniques now, and we've got so many more. The ingredients are so much better.
Yeah.
You can get beautiful olive oil now. You can get all of these beautiful ingredients, but we've simplified things, and maybe that's for the better. But I still quite like the rough and ready.
Adam and Phil Howard saying that you need probably 3 or 4 less chefs if you do a set menu than you would do if you did a la carte. Because they kind of know what they're going to be making every time. There's not that.
Yeah, it's more.
Yeah, I've got a lad on the canapes, and he started when he was 16. That's unheard of now to get a 16-year-old in the kitchen. I think to watch him grow is a wonderful thing because he reminds me of. I like the rogue side of the chefs. I like them ones that come in that are going to give you their all, but they're also. They haven't got bad habits, so you can teach them the right and the wrong.
Yeah.
And you know, to make a hollandaise properly, in my view, there's only one way. All of these basics that we need to teach people, like people don't know how to make a mayonnaise anymore, and you stand there and you think to yourself, is that really?
And is that real? Like, because people say that's real.
No, that's real,
really. Yeah.
People don't know how to make a mayonnaise. They don't know how to make a vinaigrette. They don't know how to make a Caesar salad. But
people will be coming to you genuinely with an outside chance of getting the job, and they might have those gaps in their skill set.
Yeah.
Wow!
And you've got we've got a new manager at the front of house, and he turned around to me yesterday and he said, Daniel, 20 years ago you wouldn't have had a 21-year-old chef de rang. And I said, you're completely right. Yeah, completely right. You go somewhere like the Ritz or how the Connaught used to be with Michel Boudin, and you were 35 before you were the chef de partie on the sauce.
Well, John Williams said you have to do 10 years before you become a chef.
Yeah.
10 years cooking.
Yeah.
Like
and I respect that because you look at people like Spencer and you think to yourself, he is a rounded human being. He knows the inside and out. It's funny, we've got a lad that used to work for us and he's at the Ritz at the moment. And my head chef said to me, Chef, we should get him back. And I said, I said, give him a chat. And he said, no, I'm at the Ritz. I'm locked in. And you can see that they've got a very clear path, but it's the Ritz. They've got, rooms at $2,500, $3,000 a night. That's what helps pay for this beautiful training. But this is a young man's game. I'll be totally honest with you. We talk about chef de parties at 30, but I'm 52 now, and doing 16, 17 hours a day, you're starting to feel it.
Only 2 Michelin-star place east of England. I mean, an amazing place, Midsummer House. But if we were going there tonight for supper, what can we expect?
You can expect 2 menus. So we do a 7, and I think it's 14 courses plus canapes.
Glorious.
We only use the best ingredients. So at the moment, we've got lobster on the menu. We've got turbot on the menu. We've got beautiful duck from some brides up in Scotland. Langoustine on the menu. Scallops on the menu. But all it's about purity of ingredient. That's what I believe in. Seasonality is something that we work so closely with now. I think the miles of where ingredients come from, as I said to you, we buy our ducks from Scotland, but they are the best ducks that we can physically get. There is no duck farmer locally and I think this locally sourced stuff it's brilliant when you've got someone who's banging on your doorstep and they're brilliant. But you have to source now. I think that's the hardest part of the job, is to find someone who's, especially with a tasting menu, and this is what people don't take into consideration, is if you've got duck on a main course, you're using 100 ducks a week.
Yeah, right.
And you try and find someone who can supply you 100 ducks a week. You ring up a supplier and I'll be honest with you, he's saying, well, that's 400 ducks a month. That's his flock.
They've got like 8 in the lake.
And you can't say 10 left.
No. So you
need it for everyone.
And you also, you design that dish. You spend like days, weeks designing that dish, and then suddenly, there's no more ducks. You've got to put your work in. So you're now working 2 months ahead for the future menu. You're not sitting there saying, okay, there's the beauty of the ingredients come in and the chef writes the menu. That's all bollocks. It's now, you've got to be focused on the seasons.
Is it getting harder to still use? I mean, you've just listed langoustines, turbot, scallops, etc. Are you getting squeezed on those?
£46 a kilo this week.
So how do you approach? Because again, with Adam Byer, he was saying there's some stuff he just can't touch anymore. No. He can't get it on the menu at a price or
I think, to be honest with you, if you're putting a langoustine dish on, the course before and the course after have got them 3 courses have got to come together. You've got to accept that main langoustine is going to cost you £5.50, £6 a tail, but the dish before is going to have to be a tomato dish, or it's going to have to be.
So you net it out.
So dishes. It's not, you don't individually price one dish. You price the whole lot to come into that price bracket that you're trying to
And
make.
has it always been like that, or is that getting more and more as things get more expensive?
I think, to be honest with you, the more you understand the business, the more it works that way.
Yeah, right.
I think when I was 25 and I first opened, I didn't care. I think, I didn't know what a tablecloth was when we first opened, and I didn't understand pricing. I think that's the hardest thing, is I opened Midsummer when I was 25.
Yeah.
And but I'd had 10 years experience. I'd started when I was 15. So I look at that now, like my daughter is 25.
Yeah.
And I look at her and I think to myself, she's just starting work now.
Yeah.
She's been to uni, she's done all these lovely things, travelled for a year. And, she's a beautiful, rounded human being. I was running my restaurant at 25. So I look at her and I think to myself, sweetheart, you've got a lovely life and you've done all these beautiful things, but now it's time to get on and
Let's
grasp.
crack on a bit.
But the thing is, that's built into me. And I think having children has helped me become a nicer human being.
Yeah, see the other side. But talking about pricing there, I mean, France, you still go to Michelin-star places, and they're charging maybe for a main the same for your 8-course. How do they get like?
Well, we did a road trip with 5 restaurants. I did $5,000.
Really?
Bloody hell.
$5,000. $5,000 in 5 restaurants.
But how do they get away with that compared to English?
Because
you do that?
I'll be honest with you, every single restaurant in France we went to was full.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there, and a starter, you're charged 160, 180, and you're looking at it and you're asking yourself the question, is that'd be 1 course of my tasting menu. It's like 1 langoustine tail. Caviar's on there because it's caviar.
Yeah.
And you're looking at it and thinking to yourself, right, okay, ringing your wife, go to the toilet quickly, can you put some more money in my account, please?
You just move it,
Yeah.
Can you do that in England? Can you charge those prices? Or
No,
what?
not a chance.
Who's in those restaurants? Is it local French people? Or is it people
I think it's
yourselves?
Americans. It's a lot of Asians. It's a lot of high-class French people. But I think the French understand and respect what they're eating.
Yeah.
These are conversations that, my stepson turned around to me last Tuesday and said to me, I don't understand why no one else sits and has their dinner at the table. I was like, what do you mean, Ben? He said, well, my girlfriend doesn't have dinner at the table. He said, this is a really nice thing to do. And we make sure when the restaurant's closed, we make sure we have dinner as a family every week, like Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and it brings that conversation, and it makes it. This is something I was brought up on, and it's something that my wife was brought up on, and I think at the end of the day it's my job to install that into the children. But then you look at the French culture; they stop and have lunch every day, and they stop and have dinner every day. So they have a mutual respect for food, like the Italians. Like the Spanish have a little sleep, that's not a bad idea either.
No,
That's an evil idea.
Yeah.
When you opened in '98, like the first couple of years weren't easy. You were thrown with a couple of natural disasters.
Yeah.
Can you just take us through, like, did it nearly cripple the business, those floods and everything else?
Yeah. The first flood came out of nowhere. I got a text message on the Tuesday morning from my restaurant manager. He said, Daniel, I've woken up and the river's quite high. I'm going to walk down to the restaurant. So then he phoned me about half an hour later, and he was standing on the bridge, and you can see into Midsummer from the bridge. He said, I think you need to come in. I was like, right, okay. Drove in, and we've got white stones in front of the restaurant, and they're about, I would say, probably 30, 40 metres away from the restaurant. And as I walked over the bridge, I couldn't see the stones. I was like, it's really rained. Yeah. And then we went into the restaurant, and to be honest, didn't have the finances, didn't really know the building. I'd had the building for about a year, but the end of the day is I was concentrating on trying to build a kitchen. When I first took it over, I had a char grill, and I was doing like Pom Maximes on a char grill, like absolutely insane. Using it as my solid top. I actually got my dad to cut me a piece of cast iron to put onto it so I could use it as a solid top. My dad's been a hero all the way through this. But the first flood, I have a business partner, and I phoned my business partner. He said, right, you're going to have to get rid of all the staff. And I said, what do you mean get rid of all the staff? He said, well, we're going to be closed for a minimum of 6 months. I said, I can't get rid of the staff. I said, at the end of the day, it's taken me like a year and a half to build them up. I said, if they go, I've got to go, because I can't reopen in 6 months' time with a brand new team. I've been through this headache already. And we turned it around in 6 weeks because all the staff got involved. So I phoned the insurance, and we had a wooden floor at that point. And if you know Midsummer, it's a small house, and it's got quite a large conservatory. And the conservatory's got had wooden floors. And I phoned the insurance, and because of the whole of the cam, what happened is it rained so hard, and the river runs up, it doesn't run down, and they'd open the locks to save the cottages. Oof. So they'd save the cottages, but flooded that end of it, so flooded me. And we were up to waist in water. And what I didn't realise, in the main house of the restaurant, there's an underfloor, which I didn't know. So once couldn't pump the water out because there was nowhere to pump it, because the whole common was flooded. So we had to wait for the water level to go down. Then I phoned the insurance, and they said the wooden floor is going to expand and push the walls, so you're going to have to get the wooden floor up. So we had to get the floor up. And to be honest with you, that sort of made... it made me the maintenance man, and that's been something that's happened ever since. Yeah. But it also makes you... I tiled the kitchen myself. I laid the first floor in the kitchen myself. I've countless, because you have a set standard in life where you want to be, and I don't ever want to drop from that. So if I can't afford someone else to do it, I'll do it myself.
You're using gas or induction?
Both.
Really?
Yeah. So I originally installed a bonnet from France, which was fully gas, and then I physically cut half of it off and got an English company to come and put an induction on it, because I'll be honest, if you have a power cut, you can't work.
Yeah, right.
And if you have to cover all eventualities. So you have to think back on, right, okay, if this happens, we can't do that. So
do you feel as alive an induction? I mean, they're quite hard to clean as well. You can come up with some nasty bills.
I like the quickness of them. For prep, I think induction's amazing. Yeah. For actually service, I think they're too aggressive. Yeah. And
I always get bollocked by my girlfriend though for like ruining. I'm trying to clean them, and then they're quite easy to scratch.
What you
know?
do?
Yeah.
Huh?
What are you using?
Scrubbing him down. Next thing she's chucking me out the house.
Well. Don't get induction.
Could be for other indiscretions.
Yeah, it could be. You obviously just been on that incredible road trip. You mentioned Bainesy, Keza, Claude, Bosi, friends of the shows, all of them. Well, three of them. How much fun was it? Like, where was the best place you ate?
This is the weird thing, because you go to 5 different restaurants, 5 different chefs. Everyone has a different opinion.
Really?
Yeah, and that's the makeup of who we are, because we are. Let's be honest, if you went to Tom's, Claude's, Sat's, and mine, you'd be confused as well, because you'd stand there and say, "How that's 2 Michelin stars, that's 2 Michelin stars." But that's what the beauty of the guidebook is. Yeah. So you go to these 5 different restaurants. So we went to one in the north of France, which was a 2-star, which we all loved. Absolutely amazing, and the beauty of that is you can see the chef's trying to grow, and you can see that he's not polished, but he's getting there. Yeah. And then we went to Clos de Seine, which was in Annecy, which I absolutely loved. I thought no meat, lots of fish, lots of vegetables, techniques that made my back. When I have something really, really nice, all the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, and it actually takes me back to being like 15 again. Yeah. And you're like a child, like giddy, and I make them all laugh, because I'm so open and honest that I will get up and just go straight into the kitchen and say to the chef, "Can you just show me how to do this, please?"
Really?
Because
did you do that then?
Yeah. Because I went in. There's an artichoke dish, and we're all looking at it. And I'm trying to work out how they've made it, because I'm sitting there thinking to myself, "This is," when you slice it. Like 20 years ago, when we were cooking, how we used to cook. You'd slice a globe artichoke, and then you'd fry it in olive oil with a little bit of thyme, and you'd add garlic at the last minute just to give it that flavour. And you'd have these crisps on the plate, and it'd normally be on a Provençal dish, and it'd be a few of those. But what they did is they lined a tartlet mould and lined so it looked like a rose, and then they cooked it in olive oil upside down. But the beauty of it is only the top goes crispy, but the underneath, where you've lined it, goes soft. Oh. So you get this soft artichoke, and then you get this crispiness on the top. And I'm sitting there like a hawk thinking to myself, that's coming with me, whatever happens. And Sat's looking at it saying, how to do it. I'm thinking to myself, I'm getting there first.
Yeah, that's going to be on the menu.
I'm going in the kitchen.
So is that... Because most places you eat, or most dishes you eat, you must be able to sort of work out how it's
You try
done.
to work it
so
out.
that's what it's starting to be used. I can't work this out. What have they done?
Your brain. Look, I can eat popcorn and it'll question how it's done. Yeah. And I think that's where that's what I love about my job is it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. That's the first thing. But what I love tasting things and then saying to myself, right, like, how do I do that?
Yeah.
So like, I don't eat Chinese anymore because I try and cook it at home. And if if you can pull that off, because it is cooking is. It is a process, and if you understand the process, and we talked about this a little bit a while ago, if you understand how to make a basic sauce, you can make that into, you can adjust it with like soy sauce or mirin or all of these things, and if you understand and your palate can take you to that point, and I've got an amazing memory for my palate, so I can remember how things tasted. Like I can tell you. I could probably tell you the whole menu we had at Clos de Sens. I can sit there and say, right, that was the fennel dish, that was this, the artichoke dish was like that. I don't, because I'm dyslexic, so reading has never been my forte. I've probably read 2 books in my life. One was White Heat, and that's what drove me. Yeah. And I'll be totally honest with you now. So I picture everything. My brain can take it in where flavors work in my head, and then you can recreate that.
So have you always had that?
I don't think you realise you had it.
No.
When I was writing sand at school because they put me I was going to say something else then. They put me in like the special needs, and I was just naughty. I wasn't. It's difficult because my dad's been married 5 times, so I've had 5 different mums. So growing up, you never have any stability. So when you're going to school, and my brother was really good at school, and then so they're judging you by your brother. But at the end of the day, my brother's a builder, and he's a very, very successful builder, and I'm a successful chef. So we've both got our fortes, but we're not the same. Yeah. I mean, you can't put us in a room. We'll have put us in a room together. We'll have a fight. Yeah, but I'll be honest with you. Separately, he's amazing at what he does. Yeah. I'm all right at what I do, and my dad's done well. But I'll be honest with you, I think learning. I've always learned with my hands. This is why when did I learn this? I probably learned this in France. So I went to France when I was 21. Went straight into a 2-star. There was not one English-speaking chef in the kitchen. There was 26 boys in the kitchen, and the only way to learn was to watch. Yeah. And what I did. There, I was running the entremetier section, and I had a Japanese commie. He couldn't speak English or French. I couldn't speak French or Japanese. So the only way we could communicate was with our hands and showing each other. But then at the end of the service, I'd clean my section down, and I'd go and stand by the pastry. And for the first week, I stood there, and the pastry chef would say to me, go away, go away, go away. Second week, I'd start getting the plates up for him. The third week, he would let me do the petit fours, put them on the stands. By the 7th, 8th week, he was letting me dress the desserts. By the time I left, he gave me his recipe file. Yeah. And I was the only person to do that. I had nothing else to do. I couldn't go home and watch TV. I didn't have enough, I was paid £500 a week. No, £500 a month. And once I paid my rent, a packet of tobacco and done my laundry, there was nothing left. So
this is when you were working with Jean Baudet in Tours. I mean, what was the place like?
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was the most. Do you know something? To go from, I'd worked in like Marco's and I'd worked at Harvey's and all these aggressive English kitchens where there was like short staff, sweating, going in your day off, climbing through a skylight to actually get into work. Marco's sleeping in the fucking restaurant. It's just like madness. Yeah. Like one day he broke his toe on someone kicking him in the service the night before, and then the next day we're all walking in. And Marco calls him over and sacks him because he broke his toe on him.
I mean, the logic's there. I can see the logic.
I can. As old Daniel can probably say, I fucking know. But now, no, you wouldn't get away with it. But the thing is you go to France and you go to the kitchen had 108 different varieties of tomato growing, and you know something? It was the first time I realised tomatoes taste different.
Yeah, right.
Because growing up around tomatoes red, you taste it tastes like a tomato. But in France, this is before the Isle of Wights and all this. This is like zebra tomatoes growing in the garden. You're like, fucking hell, this is amazing. And they did a dish. The amuse-bouche was just an assiette of tomatoes. I remember saying to the chef, how do you want me to do this? You just put tomatoes and then you dress it with the vinaigrette. It's like, okay, 2-star, fucking hell. In England, it would be very, but it was all about the flavour.
Yeah.
And they had 18 different types of basil.
Wow.
My job was to. This is the part that I think makes you. If you speak to Claude and you speak to Tom, we all come from the same backgrounds. We've all grown up in this industry, and in France, my job was to feed the pigs. Right. So we had swill bins. At the end of the night, all the food scraps went in the swill bins, and then at 11:30 at night, me and the kitchen porter would have to carry these two, like they're bubbling, like metal bins, and it's actually bubbling where someone's put the chicken carcass in it, and everything gets thrown in there, and then you go up and you've got these two aggressive pigs. It's pitch black. No, there's no mobile phones in them days. No. And you're trying to feed it, and they're going mental. It's 11:30. You've got these two pigs going mental. And there's a geese on the side, and he's going mental as well because you haven't fed him yet. And I remember one day I came in after my days off, and there's two pigs hanging in the fridge. Like, I'm not feeding the pigs anymore. No. But the chef had such a great idea. He did a fête de couchon, and every year his 50 most important guests, he would cook them two pigs for.
Oh, cool.
So the legs would be made into ham for the next year. So you'd have the year before, and it was just so eye-opening because basically the pigs cost him nothing. Yeah. We fed the pigs. He then looked after his customers, and they obviously came back and had a great time.
Genius.
When you're in France, you also got to eat at Claude's parents' house, right? Yeah. What was that like? Because obviously they used to run a little
They've adopted me.
Really?
Yeah. I think Claude's been pushed out.
Yeah, rightly so.
I think do you know something? That's the highlight of the trip.
Really?
Yeah, it's the highlight because you're going to reality, and I could listen to people all day long, and that they all take the piss out of me because I walk around the house with his mum and she shows me all the pictures, and I love all that because I love understanding Claude's journey as well, and I've known him for a long time, so there's pictures of his daughter and pictures of his kids all over the walls, and Lucy, and it's lovely because you feel a part of it. But then when you speak to his mum, she run a roadside cafe, and Claude's job was to clean the ashtrays and clear the plates. Yeah. This isn't lunchtime, so he'd go to school in the morning, he'd come home, help his mum, have his lunch, clean the ashtrays, and go back to school. And you listen to her and the way she cooks, and you learn so much. Yeah. And that's what people don't understand is that's heritage there, and that's I believe, like when she shows you around the garden and she's saying, this comes from here and this comes from here, and then his dad makes eau de vie that is like rocket fuel, and he refuses you to leave the table, so everyone's having a shot and then just like throwing it away because we know we've got to drive. Yeah. But and we said to him, Claude, how this is made, and his dad's explaining it, and then Claude's explaining it to us. All the wine that went off last year, the corked wine, he's made eau de vie with it. Wow. So it is like pirate juice. Yeah. It's absolutely like when he first opened the first Josephine, he brought a couple of bottles over, and we all had no excuse to drink it. Yeah. So it was like, okay, but yeah, it's wow. I love that.
What did they make for you when you went there for lunch? Can you remember?
Yeah, they did like pâtés. We had 3 or 4 different pâtés. The worst bit is, you're going to a 3-star for dinner.
Right.
Okay, so you're going to a 3-star for dinner, and then you sit at Claude's, and she's a feeder, so she comes out, and there's 4 or 5 different terrines. Like the dad shot the wild boar as like 2 weeks ago, and they made a terrine. There's a pâté. There's loads of this beautiful sourdough bread, some baguette, and Claude always takes the mickey because when we come, his mum unwraps the butter. He says, she doesn't unwrap the butter when I come, but when you come, she unwraps. And then his brother, Cedric, Claude's got a brother, and he runs a restaurant up in Ludlow, and they never have dessert. So every time we go, we have dessert. So we're all FaceTiming Cedric saying, that we've had dessert. Yeah. So he's apparently coming on the road trip next year just so he can have his mum's dessert.
Bloody dessert.
Talking about technique earlier, were you ever inspired by the whole sort of like the gastronomy movement? I mean, do you ever open your kitchen now, look at some weird devices you spent thousands of pounds on, and go like, what the fuck was I doing?
No, we still use them.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, we still use them. They've all got purpose. I think that was the... I'd been classically trained up until the point of the Fat Duck. And then I remember going to the Fat Duck, and my old restaurant boys, one of my best friends, was the assistant there. So I went to eat, and I remember, I don't know if you can remember, but Heston used to do a mashed potato with lime jelly on it, and they used to spoon feed you. And I said to the whole team, this is when we were flooded. Yeah. I said to the team, I took them out, a bit of a morale booster. So I took them for lunch, and I said, if someone tries to spoon feed me, I'm going to knock them out. And then suddenly this bloke turns around with a spoon and just whacks it in my mouth, and I'm sitting there thinking, this is. I'd never seen it. I'd never understood what the hype was, and then I started to see the food coming out, and it was like, this is a different level. This is nothing I'd ever seen. And then I started to travel to Spain, go to El Bulli, go to Can Roca, and open
as a diner.
As a diner, to dine.
Diner,
and it's interesting that no one knows, and I've kept this one to myself. When I got my first start, that in between the first and the second star, I actually contemplated getting rid of it. I didn't feel I knew enough, and I had
the
this
restaurant.
I was going to close the whole thing down, and I was going to, because I didn't believe I was good enough. So I had a plan in my head. I really wanted to work at the French Laundry,
right? Yeah,
and I wanted to take a year or 2 years out. I'd had my first daughter by this point, so I couldn't financially do it, but I felt there was so many restaurants in the world that I wanted to go and work in, that I was still calling that I needed to work. And Thomas Keller was one, El Bulli was the other. Midsummer, business took over, and you just you fall in love with it. And the only way to carry on learning now is to eat out and go to these places, because you sit there. This is the hardest thing about the road trip, is choosing where to go, because you're like, I want to go here, I want to go here, and then you've got 4 other people you need to convince to go there, and some people have already been there, and then, it's, I think there is a point where you have to learn by watching what's going on somewhere else, because you stand back and go, okay, how have they done that? If you question it, you can.
Were you surprised how long it's lasted though? Is it the Fat Duck in terms of, I don't know, 30 years? It's quite incredible.
Yes.
For something which people say is quite faddy in a way, but
once you go there, people seem to stop questioning it.
I think, look, there's certain dishes at the Fat Duck menu you put in your mouth and you think to yourself, it's still a fuck you moment. It's still like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's the most delicious thing. He used to do the grey mustard ice cream with the red cabbage gazpacho. So simple, but it's so delicious. The sweetbreads with cockles. I can tell you the whole menu. There was a veal kidney cooked in hay, which used to take 45 minutes to cook. And that was on the a la carte. And if you didn't have a starter,
you go straight to
Alan, the guy we talked about earlier, the restaurant manager, he said sometimes he'd take an order and the customer would say at 2:00 in the afternoon, I would like the veal sweetbread. No, the veal kidney, please. And Alan would say, shit, that's going to be like 45 minutes. And he said, you go into the kitchen and the chefs are like standing there waiting for this thing to cook, because it's wrapped in hay and it's got to be cooked at such a slow temperature. But it makes sense when you taste it. So am I surprised it's lasted? No, I'm not surprised. I think it's a shame that it hasn't evolved as much as I thought it was going to evolve, because I thought, it's like El Bulli. When it first closed, I was lucky. I went to the last 3 seasons of El Bulli. So I took the whole team when we got 2 stars. And we had the kitchen table. It was the most amazing experience of my life. I had a Spanish waiter, and I said to him quietly, I said, could you please ring El Bulli and get me a table? How many people? I said, I want to take the whole team. Really? He said, yeah. I said, look, please. He said, chef, it's a 2-year wait list. I said, look, please just ask. And he managed to get me the kitchen table. I didn't tell anyone, so we all went. End of the meal, and I smoke. Got the end of the meal, and Farron Agent's sitting next to me. And this is like you're sitting next to the king, as far as I was still giddy. I still get so excited. And he's sitting next to me, and I said, chef, I really do need a cigarette. You can smoke here in the kitchen.
Oh my!
And you
God.
turn around the bald head there, and you're worried about lighting up because he's sitting there. So he took a cigarette out of my packet and lit it. I was like, oh, here we go. Sat there in his kitchen with the rest of my team in front of me.
Do you still get sort of nervous when chefs come to your restaurant now? Like if Heston walked in and
anyone,
Really?
yeah, of course I do. Yeah, because at the end of the day is you want to impress, don't you? The first day after COVID. The first COVID, I had Claude, Tom, and Paul come to the restaurant.
Jesus.
And they all sat there, and all the staff were like, giddy that they were in. I was giddy as well. We'd rewritten the whole menu, dishes that we'd worked so long on, and Paul was late. Didn't start till 2:00. I knew it was going to be an all-day affair.
Yeah.
And do you know something? You get excited, you get nervous. If you didn't, you would. It means you don't care. So I'd still get excited.
Talking about famous people come to the restaurant, do you not get once stung quite badly by a Premier League footballer?
Yes, for wine. Yeah, it wasn't him though.
Well, no, what happened?
So, oh fucking hell. So there was this scam going around. I didn't know it wasn't a scam. So we had a table booked in on the Saturday night for Didier Drogba, and it was
Hero
a table.
yours, Freddie.
Yeah,
Big hero of mine.
yeah, it's a table of 4 on a Saturday night, and he'd already pre-ordered 2 expensive bottles of wine. So they pre-ordered them, and they put it through, and he wanted to make sure he wanted them decanted, and I was like, okay, we're not going to decant a bottle of wine until it's bought and paid for, because
Several thousand pounds, right?
So I think the first 2 bottles were 10 grand.
Jesus.
And then, so paid on the credit card, went through. I was really, okay, we sold these 2 great bottles of wine. Tomorrow night's going to be brilliant. Then we got a phone call. I was at B&Q at the time. I remember my receptionist, story of my life. Yeah. And my receptionist phoned me and said, Chef, Didier Drogba's having a party tonight in one of the local hotels, and he'd like to buy some more wine. I said, right. And she said he'd like £18,000 worth of wine for tonight. I said, okay. I said, can you just check our license if we can sell off license as well? So she checked that, came back and said, yep, no problem. I said, right, okay. Because she said, his agent is going to come and pick it up. I said, absolutely no problem. Yeah. Make the sale. Rang it through the till, all went through the credit card machine. No problem at all. This taxi turns up. Gets out. He's saying he's taking it to the University Arms in Cambridge. Pack up the wine, give it to him. It's gone through, so we're all happy days here. Yeah? And they'd paid for the other ones, and about 2 hours later, I get a phone call from the credit card thing saying this card's been stolen, and we're not paying you. So I lost 28 grand that day. £28,000. Yeah.
And was Drogba nowhere to be seen?
Nowhere to be seen. What happened is the taxi driver, as soon as he'd left the common, they redirected him. So they originally told him he was going to University Arms, so we thought he was going to the hotel.
Yeah.
And then he was being told he had to go to McDonald's and meet someone in McDonald's car park.
Sometimes you want a nice bottle of wine with your burger. That's the problem.
That is horrible.
Yeah.
So you're 28 grand worth of wine out of pocket.
Done, yeah.
That's appalling.
Yeah, done.
Oh my god.
What about private cooking gigs? Have you ever done any weird ones?
Yeah, I've done some amazing ones. Yeah, I've done Peter Jones was an amazing one.
Oh yeah.
So I did his wife's 40th. Me, my wife, my stepson came down. He was 15 at the time because we were short at Midsummer, and that's because I run it so tight. When you get one of these, it's like, all right, who's going to come?
Yeah.
Let's bring the family in.
Yeah.
And I remember very clearly. We'd got there. I'd taken everything. I've got a van that I go fishing with, so I'd stripped my van out, packed it all. My sous chef came with me. Got to Peter's house. I'd met Peter before, so everything was all right. And he I remember sending, this is Peter Jones, yeah?
Yeah.
I sent him the menu price. I said to him, right, it's going to cost you this. Daniel, you need to sharpen your pencil. Fucking sharpen my pencil.
You're good for it, no?
Yeah. I think you're all right for cash, no? But you question how people make money. That's exactly how they make money, because they're prepared to turn the screw. Yeah. So obviously, I wanted to do the gig. It was for Peter. You know, I was excited about doing it. So okay. So I took 5 staff, went down there, absolutely smashed it out of the park. His carpet, this white carpet in his dining room was this thick. It was like walking on air. It was like the best feeling in the world. And then he put me in this kitchen. I put the fryer outside so the house didn't smell. He came out and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "We're going to fry." What? He said, "Why is that?" I said, "So the house doesn't." "Oh, that's a really good tip, Daniel. Like, this house has got a fucking coffee room, yeah." What? You know. It's got a coffee room. I'm walking through this coffee room thinking to myself, this is a better setup than my kitchen. It's just But then so we get through it. My wife, Peter says to my wife, the guests are going to be arriving at 7. Can you open the door? She's like, I don't. What do you mean open the door? I'm like, just do it. She's never worked in hospitality in her life. Yeah? So sits him in the garden, Peter and his wife, serves two glasses. It was his wine cellar. He went through 22 bottles of wine that night. Serves him 2 glasses of Dom Perignon 2000 Rosé. I'm Googling it on my phone. It's like £700 a bottle. Yeah, she puts 2 glasses down. Suddenly, out of nowhere, 2 flies just go straight in. And Peter says, "Can you take them away?" She's pouring it down a sink, like £300 a glass. I'm like, this is a different league. Anyway, I'm cooking away, serving, getting all the dishes. I did a 12-course tasting menu. Absolute madness. Don't know why we did it. I had to take all the plates, cutlery, everything. And then just about to do main course. And all these kids come into the kitchen, start opening the door and putting pizzas in the oven. And if anyone knows me, when I'm in the zone. I'm like fucking the Tasmanian devil. No one, even my kids don't come in the kitchen. No. When I'm cooking at home, it's like that's a fucking no zone. Don't go near that psycho. Leave him alone. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, and these people, and my wife's going, "Daniel, stay calm, stay calm, stay calm. They just want a pizza. Let them have a pizza. I'm just about to do this." Anyway, so. Get through. I thought to myself, because it's his wife's birthday, I'd taken a Flambé, this copper, beautiful copper, and I said, I got Peter off this round table, and I said, "Right, Peter, you're going to do dessert." He's like, "Daniel, what do I do?" I said, "You're going to Flambé these kumquats. They're all pre-cooked. All you got to do is warm them through and Flambé." And he's like, "Okay." So we'd had a run through before, so we'd start the Flambé. He puts in the alcohol, fucking whoosh, straight. I'd put it under the smoke alarm. And
didn't have sprinklers,
so alarm goes off, fire engine's there in about 2 minutes flat, and he's like coming to me saying, "I've called them out 3 times this year. They're going to take me off the red care." So he goes. So I'm trying to still like get dessert sorted, and he goes out. He comes back. He says, he comes back a half an hour late. He says, "Daniel, have I still got dessert?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Everything all right?" He said, "Yeah." He said they all wanted selfies with me, so it's okay. They've taken me off the list. Brilliant. So yeah, it was brilliant.
Was it not one where you had to serve someone in their bed, or is that
bed?
Yes. No, I read something like people didn't want to get out of their room or something. Maybe not.
No, it's probably not me.
Ben, we've got to offer a drink. Is it too late? I don't think it is.
It's never too late. I mean, would you have a drink with us?
Yeah, I'll have a drink with you. Yeah.
I read you don't like cocktails that much. But I read you don't mind a vodka
I don't.
cranberry.
No. Oh, I like that.
There we go.
I don't mind. I don't mind cocktails. I think. I always try and. It's my brain. I try and work out exactly what's in it. That looks good though.
I can tell you, this is Heppel, Valentine Warner, and Nick Strangeway's.
Wow.
They've made the Douglas Fir vodka.
Yeah, I'll try that.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I can pick up the Douglas Fir, but I suspect your palate will.
We should quickly say that today's episode is brought to us by our brilliant friends Blink, the UK-based legends turning the POS game on its head. There are no long-term contracts, no hidden fees, no per-device charges. If you run a restaurant, you'll know how painful traditional POS systems can be. They're clunky, they're slow. Worst of all, they're expensive. Daniel, Blink is different. Okay, it's time to get you signed up, both of you. It's the first POS that needs 0 training. Your team can be up and running in minutes. It's going to cost you just £49 a month for unlimited devices.
Sounds like a bargain.
Okay, well, do we have the contract printed? We just got a printer in the bag.
Yeah.
No stress, no tech headaches. And also, you can use the code GOTOBLINK, BLINQ, to get your first month free. Claude is using it. Can we get the whole team around?
Yeah,
you, Claude, Tom.
Yeah. Let's get it.
Okay, you signed up. It's our first on-air deal. This feels amazing.
Brilliant.
And if you want to
I'll be honest with you, if you see my IT, I'll be honest with you, I would sign up to anything right now. It's,
perfect.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't even had a drink yet. This is incredible. And if you want a whole year's worth for free, then you can send in some naughty stories from the kitchen, which maybe we'll get later on the podcast.
I'll probably get 10 years free.
Yeah. You're the greatest thing to come out of sort of Canterbury since Christopher Marlowe.
Yeah. Canterbury,
3 years as a sort of apprentice. In the kitchen.
Yeah.
We were talking about how you don't really see that sort of commitment in terms of years of time nowadays.
I started. So it all started that work experience came around at school, and I was sent to Canterbury University, and I ended up going to. I did 2 weeks there, and I went back. And look, I was a terror at school. I'll openly admit that. And I'd go in, sign into school, and then instead of going to lessons, I would get under. They were all in caravans. These big
sort of porter cabin. Yeah.
I would go under the one that I was meant to be in lesson. I'd sit there and smoke for an hour. It's mental. I actually think back and just think to myself, that was mental.
Yeah.
But something inside me, I didn't want to go to school. So that was my idea. Yeah, it'd make a nice. Anyway, that's beside the side. But then I went to work experience, and I walked into this kitchen, and I felt a part of something. I felt this is amazing, even though I was on the toast section. I'd have to do like 25 loaves of white bread and 15 loaves of brown bread on this toast machine. But I felt responsible and I felt important. And the students were waiting for my toast. So I felt, so then it grew and it grew and it grew. And I did a year there. I went to college once a week and I did my 5 days at work. And I honestly believe that was the best experience to get into the industry because it gave me an insight into college. Yeah. But then when I was at college, I was with all these kids that were working in restaurants and I was working at a university, like cooking for 1,000 people for lunch and 1,500 for dinner. You're not cooking, you're mass producing, but you didn't know any different. So then I applied to a local hotel and I was so lucky. I walked into a kitchen where there was 4 chefs, including me, and the head chef and the sous chef had both worked in starred restaurants in London. They both wanted to be that style of food, so they taught me the basics so well. And then after 2 years, the head chef came in and said, you need to apply to these jobs. One was Burton Race when he was 2 stars at Lauterland, and the other one was David Cavalier at the Bell at Ashton Clinton. And I wrote to both. I'm still waiting for my response from Burton Race. And David Cavalier offered me a job, Amazing.
So he could see that your head chef at that time saw something in you and he was like, you need to go.
He could see that he couldn't take me any further.
Right.
Because the place that I was working had a 30-cover restaurant, but it did a lot of banqueting. So every weekend we were doing, buffets for lunch and like these big, 100 people dinner, chicken and bullshit.
Yeah.
But he taught me the basics. Like he'd buy a lobe of foie gras in, he'd show me how to saute it and how to devein it, but it never hit the menu. So he was buying things just to teach me.
Wow.
And he was a vegan. Like life is mental, isn't it? You're getting shown how to devein foie gras by a vegan. And you're standing there asking yourself the question, this doesn't actually work, but respect to him.
Yeah.
He'd like we used to have a pigeon partridge pie. I remember it really clearly with poppy seeds on the top, and it was wrapped in pastry. And I used to have to taste it because he wouldn't taste it. And that's where you stand and think, well, I don't know what's right and wrong, but you start to understand seasoning and you start to understand. And this is the bit, I've got a dilemma at the moment that my stepson he's worked at the restaurant since he was 13 years old. Yeah. We've been looking at pictures recently, and he, out of the blue, he's worked front of house and he's been the kitchen porter, he's been the runner, he's now near enough a chef de rang. He is amazing. His work ethic is off the charts. Now he wants to be a chef, and out of the blue he's done really well at school, finished his A-levels. We all know he's going to do really well. His brother's gone off and done really, really well, and he said, right, I want to be a chef. And I know I can teach him to cook. I know I can teach him discipline. I know I can give him the journey that I wish I had. Because he's already got a year at Midsummer, 6 months with Claude, 6 months with Sat, 6 months with Claire, 6 months with Tom, and then he's going to the French Laundry if he wants it. I'm not being funny.
What were you doing with your life then? Fucking waste
Does that annoy you though that he's going to go to the French Laundry?
No, it doesn't annoy me. It makes me think. Do you know something? It makes me stand back and think to myself, there is a future for Midsummer House.
Yeah, right.
Because if he is that serious and he takes it as seriously as his work ethic for the last 4 or 5 years have been amazing, off the charts. Like his mum's a bit of a worrier, and she says, he's coming home at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, we've got to get used to this. This is his job. This is his lifestyle. This is what he wants. Yeah. And I'll be totally honest with you. I'm embracing it. I'm wondering. I think someone once said to me, Daniel, you'll work with 100 chefs and only one of them will go off and get a Michelin star. When he first told me that, I thought he was mad. I now completely understand why he said it. The only thing I can't give to him is the want to do this forever, because it is a commitment that it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. I think, to be honest with you, I'm 99% sure he's going to fly, but there is that 1% in me that's going to say, other things could turn him, but we'll see. It's a journey.
When you went to work for David Cavalier at the Bell Inn in Buckinghamshire, obviously he went on to have Cavaliers, right?
No, it was before.
Cavaliers
was after.
Was that after?
Yeah, it was after.
Because I thought Tom Aikens had worked.
Tom Aikens worked with him at Cavaliers.
Right, so you worked with him after Tom?
So I worked with him after
Tom. Because Tom said he was like one of the greatest teachers he ever worked on. What was he like?
He was amazing. I still look back and I would say he's in my top 2. 100%.
Really?
Amazing. Look, amazing chef. Fucking nightmare about costings, ingredients, like 3, 4. There was one, the langoustine starter had 5 langoustine tails on it and 2 tortellinis filled with langoustine at the end. If you were going to put that on the plate now, you'd have to charge probably £400 for that. And if the langoustines came in and they were prepped and we didn't sell them, they weren't, fresh langoustines came in the next day. So it was like, oh my God, like foie gras on top of the fillet of beef. If it wasn't perfect, start again. But the quality, I remember the sauce Perigordin. It was like, fuck. It was like, look, not just on the back of your neck, all over your body, they'd stand up because this thing was just punching you in the face. He was he's in my top 2 people I've worked for. I thought he was better than Marco.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I honestly believe he had a vision for food. He was trained by Anton Mosman.
Yeah.
He was Anton Mosman's right-hand man under Kit. He used to have a Chinese lady that did all the books, and then David worked for him, and he was just phenomenal.
Wow.
Like, I can still picture the dishes. I can still remember the pigeon dish and a red mullet millefeuille that I actually put in my book because it was the bollocks of a dish.
Yeah.
But it cost a fucking fortune.
Well, what was it like working for Marco then? I mean, there must have been some crazy stories. Every person who comes on has some stories. I know you've given us one earlier, but there must be some more.
Look, I'll be honest, the first day he gave me... I was working at Miller's in Harrogate, so I'd worked at the Box Tree.
Which is where he worked as a child.
So,
right?
no, Marco take it over.
Yeah.
Right.
So while I was there, Marco took it over as the consultant under Madame Avis, and he brought Michael Lambie up from London. And Michael came in, and overnight we were changing the menu. We were all putting Marco's Box Tree classics on. And one of the Box Tree classics was a darioled of mushrooms. So you'd make a duxelle, but you wouldn't cream it. You'd just cut them down and sweat them down with shallots and then leave that separate. You'd make a chicken mousse, and then you put chopped truffle for it. You'd line the dariole mould, just piping it in, and then you'd put the duxelle in the middle. So it's like a bit like a fondant, and you'd steam it and turn it out, and then you'd put these like a Madeira au jus around the outside. Like such a simple dish, but if the mousse is perfect, it's a beautiful dish. And so Marco came off the first fucking service. I'm like a shitting dog in the corner. I was 19 at this. No, I wasn't. I was 18 at this point. Wow. I was in the corner. There was 4 of us. There was Jane on the pastry, me, Michael, and a guy helping Michael. And that's the kitchen. And Marco came up, and he was his normal fiery self, and put the darioled in. So I put it in the steamer. Came out. And he's like putting it on the plate, he's turning it out, and he's excited because it's a Box Tree classic. And he worked there. No one knows this, but the Box Tree was the first 2-star in the country. Yeah. So it's got massive history. And he turns this dariole up and he looks at it, says, get me the RoboCoupe. Like, fuck, here we go. Got him the RoboCoupe, got him a new chicken breast, made this mousse. The customer's waiting for this dish. And Marco's decided to scrap all this, scrap that dish, make a new mousseline. He makes his mousseline. I pass it for him. He folds the cream in, makes the thing. Dariole puts it back in the steamer, steams it, turns it out, and it just goes... Fuck. With that, he walks off, walks out of service, goes to the casino, loses 10 grand.
Sometimes.
Fucking just stop. And there's me again having to make a chicken mousse again. I'm making the chicken mousse. The head chef's going fucking mental. The head chef's going absolutely spare at me. The restaurant manager's coming in. How long? It's been for like 50 minutes now. But this is Marco. Anyway, Marco loses 10 grand. Simon Gueller, who was Marco's best mate at that point, was working at Miller's at Harrogate. He'd gone to the casino with him. Simon had his takings with him. So Marco borrowed his takings, won 30 grand with Simon's takings.
I'm quite relieved.
Yeah, so was I.
Yeah.
But I remember as he lost his shit because the second one that he made didn't work, he took his jacket off and threw it in the corner as he walked out. And it had a Harvey's fucking sticker in the back. And me like a magpie.
That's mine.
Fucking, I'm having that. Yeah. That is mine. Harvey's jacket. It was like, he was like God back in them days. Yeah, he was like to me, he was like working for Paul Bocuse. It was like the best chef in the world. Anyway, so then we got that week out of the way. Sunday, the whole team from Harvey's came up. my dad would come. My dad had come up to eat. It's the first time he'd ever eaten in any restaurant I'd ever worked in. So I was quite excited. Marco didn't know my dad was eating, and I was in the corner doing all the pommes fondants, and this whole team from Harvey's turned up. It was like the SAS walking out. I was like, fucking hell.
Here they come.
Like, here they come, yeah. And Roger Peasy was there. There was a guy, Donovan Cook, who was the head chef, who went to Australia. Amazing guy. Robbie, the guy on the garnish. And I was in the corner. Anyway, so we'd done service. We used to do the pommes fondants in the copper pans there. And Michael would always say to me, right, you need to cook them. Like, a pomme fondant is not a difficult thing to do, but they are under stress because if you put too much water in, they do. If you've got the wrong potato, they start to like fall apart slightly. Yeah, then they're too delicate, so you got to turn them over. So Michael would say to me, "Cook them and then take them out and put them on the pavement. The pavement will cool them down, so then you can flip them." So I'm like fucking in and out with these copper pans, like absolutely shitting myself. Marco keeps on coming in. It's the first time Marco's told the world that he's here. So he's got all the journalists from Yorkshire having lunch at the Box Tree. You can imagine the tempo. Like, it's just the most stressful place in the world. And my dad's having lunch. Anyway, Max, who was the restaurant manager at that time, came in. He come up from London. And Max came in at about 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'm cleaning in the corner, trying to stay out of the way. He says, "Daniel, your dad would like to see you." I was like, "My dad? Oh, fuck, please, no, not my dad." Anyway, I go out to see my dad. And my dad's, he's a humble man. And I'm sitting, I just literally sit down. Max pulls the chair. And Mark, "What are you doing outside the kitchen?" I said, "This is my dad." "Yeah, fuck off." And Marco sat down and spoke to my dad for 3/4 an hour and told my dad how good I was going to be if I stuck it out.
That's nice.
Yeah. My dad was petrified of it.
Yeah, I bet.
He was like, "Yes, Marco, yes, Marco, yes." And I was fucking shit. Like, I thought I was I was dead when I came back. But it was.
So you like firing people because did someone nearly like cut their finger off and he fired them as well? Or was that you?
No, I look that one there.
Oh yeah.
So the aubergine was cooking. You'd do a tian of aubergine, and you'd buy these skinny little aubergines, and you'd have to confit them to order in fucking olive oil. And I was running the larder and the garnish. So I was trying to cut a terrine, and he said, aubergine. I turned round, and the fucking knife hit the fridge, went right around my finger, and I was like pissing with blood here. I still had the aubergine that I had to fucking turn over. Don't want to burn your aubergine.
Burn your aubergine.
So I got blood pissing out my finger. I wrapped it up, and I went to Marco. I said, I finished lunch service. I said, "Marco, I need to go to the hospital." I said, "It's quite a deep cut. If you're not back tonight, don't bother coming back."
Okay.
Let's went to the hospital. "Can you sort this out?" "I've got
quick.
Yeah, I need to get back." But do you know something? Hats off to him. Everyone that worked for him, they were fucking amazing. Yeah. I think if I hadn't had that step, I don't think I'd be the person I am today.
Yeah, really.
When I started at Harvey's, so I'd had been through all of this saga, and then I went to Harvey's
for some more torture.
But he said to you, "Do you want to come down?"
Yeah.
As in, so that was like a sort of you've been anointed.
No, because it was. I was going to Harvey's because Harvey's. It was just at the time when he was opening the restaurant, so he was in the middle of designing the restaurant. The canteen was already open. Like Marco was the biggest deal in London at that point. He was like, Marco Pierre White, fucking god. And what was meant to be happening? Michael was meant to be taking over Harvey's. So Michael was staying at Harvey's. This is before Shea Bruce took it, and Marco was going to the restaurant. So I go into Harvey's, and they give me 2 cases of plum tomatoes, London cases, because you don't see them outside London. These 15-kilo boxes of plum tomatoes, and they were beautiful. I've been in Yorkshire for the last 2 years, so you don't see produce like that in Yorkshire. Yeah. So they want them peel, blanched, and laying out flat. So there was me, like a dick, individually dropping each one into ice water, peeling it like it was gold, cutting it into 4, taking the seeds out, laying them on a cloth. And I'd done these. It took me like 3.5 hours to do, because when you over blanch a tomato and they go a bit horrible on the outside. So I'd done them like literally in, out. So the skin, when you have to like semi-scrape it because it's not cooked enough, but I didn't want to ruin the tomatoes. So I spent all this time, and I was like quite proud of myself. Like I finished Marco, and he just got the cloth I fucking shook them onto the fucking board and then got a chopping knife and chopped through them. Said, they're for fondue. I was like, fucking, I'm broken. I'm done. I'm done on day one. And then that night he sacked the kitchen porter and said, right, you're on the sink. I was like, okay. But I was washing, basket weave plates?
Yeah.
I was washing the basket weave, so I thought to myself, these are the fucking basket weave. The ones, because you're like a kid because you've seen white heat. So you're like washing the plates.
This is it. Yeah.
These are ones in the book. Like, fuck.
What about Simon when you work for him?
Oh, Simon. I still speak to him. We're still good friends. We regularly speak. I think Raskas was. I worked with him at Miller's at Harrogate.
Yeah, don't know.
I think
he calls you back from France, right?
Yeah, and so at Miller's it was 1-on-1, just me and him. I did that after the box tree. I thought that was the best experience. 1-on-1 training. If you want to learn how to make a lemon tart, you go and make it. Learn with Simon. He was passionate about it. The fish he wouldn't let you touch. You did all the jobs that he didn't want to do, but then the 1-on-1 training, you're standing there watching him fillet a turbot, and you're like, I've got to be able to do that. I've got to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And then one day the fish turned up and he wasn't there, and I actually had the balls to do it. And the day I had the balls to do it is the day that everything changed, because then he respected me, and then it was like, right, okay. So then he would. I was, how old was I? I was 20 at this point. I was 19, I think, and I was growing and growing and growing, and then I went to Harvey's after that, and then I went to France, and when I was in France, he'd got the deal for Raskas, and he'd phoned me the day I was leaving to go to France. He said, Daniel, I'd like you to come back to Yorkshire. I've got something in the pipeline. I was like, Chef, I'm going to France. I've got 2 stars. I've got to go. Because I'd worked for Marco at this point, and what no one realised is I'd worked for Marco, I'd worked for David Cavalier, I'd worked for Simon Gueller, I'd worked for some really good chefs in the UK. But Marco was such an influence on this country that everyone was cooking his food.
Right.
So if you pomme fondant, if you went to work anywhere else, do you know how to do the pomme fondant? Yeah. Like, we're putting pomme fondants on. Like, fucking hell, really?
Yeah.
I'm now repeating stuff that I've learned. I came to learn from you. I think so. My whole reason of going to France is there was no one else to learn from, because all I was doing is learning bastardized Marco dishes that I'd already learned. I remember I worked for Toby Hill at the Provence, and he came in one day, and James, one of my best mates, was on the fish and I was on the meat, and Toby was like, I've got this new dish, it's called assiette fish. I was like, okay, assiette fish, yeah. You fucking jumped up, cunt. And he was a pastry chef in real life.
Yeah.
That's what his job was. But he was running it, he'd got a star, and I'd worked there. And I liked Toby when he was a pastry chef. When he became a head chef, it was difficult because I don't feel like I had a lot to learn from him.
Yeah.
But he came in with this assiette fish, and he was very particular, telling James all these bits that he wanted doing. And he put it on the plate, put it on the part, said, right, that's called assiette fish. And everyone's going, wow, 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 wow. And I was like knocking into James going, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later. Got home. I opened up the book. I said, assiette fish.
go.
That was the day I decided that was it. I'm
Yeah.
fucking done, yeah? I'm done, because if you're going to rip someone's dish out of their book and you're asking me to cook it when I've already cooked it, to be honest with you, I can cook it better than you can cook it because I've already cooked it with the geezer that designed it. I'm out of it. I'm done. So that's when I decided to go to France, because I felt like France was the only place I could learn something that no one else could teach me in this country, because everyone was copying Marco. So, yeah, I think, and when you go to a country, and we touched on this earlier, when you go to a country where you can't speak, there is only one way to learn, and that's with your eyes. And you're learning by watching.
Yeah.
You're learning by, because you can't speak. So the end of the day is someone brings a new herb in that you haven't seen. The only way to think is to pick it, smell it, taste it. Yep, okay, and then watch what they're doing with it, because you've got hard herbs and soft herbs, and how they use them is
Throughout all of that, so you've had people be very nice to you, like help you on your way, and then you're working for these extraordinary chefs.
Yeah.
I'm guessing at the beginning you're shitting yourself, etc. Like, when is there a moment where you start saying, "Hold on,
I didn't
I've
shit
got
myself
this,
until I went into the Michelin kitchens.
Really?
It was fucking brilliant until that point.
Right, okay, yeah.
It was like arms round you, Daniel, this is how you make puff pastry in the afternoons. It was lovely.
Yeah.
It was like, we were having the time of our lives. It was because there wasn't aggression.
Yeah, right, okay.
As soon as you get into these high tempo, this is how we do it. There is no black and white. It's like, oh fuck, no, strap on. This is going to be a rough ride, and it was a rough ride. But the end of the day is it's also, you don't join the army to sit in an office. You join the army to go and be on the front line. Yeah, you want to be a part of it, and I wanted to be a good chef.
Yeah,
and I thought to myself, this guy Marco, he's the best in the country. So you've got to work for him.
And get amongst it.
Yeah, let's do this. Yeah. You're worried, but you're
exactly where you want to be as well, right? Like, yeah.
Ben, have you created any? I mean, we normally offer a little snack to our guests. Ben, what have you created? Come
on. I've made just a little chicken noodle soup. Would you have a bit of chicken noodle soup?
Why have you done that?
Chicken noodle soup.
I don't mind a chicken noodle soup.
Yeah. Bit of crispy chili oil.
Okay.
I also got a bounty of like delicious. So we've done a partnership with Covent Garden Market.
Wow.
They're being very nice to us. So the boys from Fresh Union, who are one of the traders, proper guys, a guy called Rob.
What have they sent?
They sent all sorts of stuff, but particularly, actually, almost nothing I've used in this dish.
Oh god. It's not good for the advertising, is it?
No,
terrible.
Cut that out.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. I'm looking at them. They've sent me the limes.
Right. We can squeeze that on.
We'll squeeze that on.
Yeah.
You've obviously... Sorry.
No, that's all I've got to say, Freddie. I fucked up as usual.
Shout
out Fresh Union.
Yeah, shout them out. Over 20 years of... 21 years of having 2 stars. But what's the creative process? How you come up with dishes? I mean, apparently you've got over 3,000 cookbooks. Do you still look at those? Ben's wife's got a 1 in, 1 out policy. Maybe...
Yeah.
Maybe you should look into that.
I've got a lot of cookbooks, but I've only read 2 of them.
Really?
Yeah.
So you haven't read Ben's
not yet.
sandwich book?
No, not yet.
Well, he's bringing out another book.
Yeah.
When's your next book come out? Next year?
March 26th, yeah.
Okay, well, I hope you read that.
I think, do you know what I'm saying? That's an interesting thing, writing a book. I think...
well, you've written one.
Yeah. It's...
You didn't like it? It's a piss take?
No, I want to do a second one.
Yeah.
I want to do a second one because I think we've got more to give. I think lots of things have changed. Lots of ideas have changed. I've grown up a lot. I've understood that less is more. That's a lesson that's taken. Do you know something when we were talking about France?
Yeah.
And then simplicity is purity. Purity makes things taste a lot better. I want to do a second book. Yeah, we've talked about it. Yeah.
Get on that.
What have been the big changes? I mean, obviously, 98, you opened the place up 27 years ago. You've been in the industry for a while. But what have been the big sort of changes in fine dining?
I would say set menus. I would say the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I would say the aggression's lost now. There is that. Them days are over, which I think is right. I don't think you learn in fear. I think some people can. I don't think it doesn't develop. If I'm in a bad mood, it affects the whole restaurant. So if someone pisses me off just driving to work, that can change my. And I've had to learn to hold that back. Yeah. I went to therapy for. I didn't mean to go to therapy, but.
Took the wrong turning.
No. Sat. This is weird. There's a guy doing a paper. He was doing a paper on Michelin-starred kitchens, and he'd written to me, and I kept on refusing. Yeah. And Sat phoned me up. He said, "Daniel, you are the only person in the country this guy hasn't spoken to. You do need to." Oh, this is lovely. I didn't think we was having lunch.
Just a little snack to keep you going.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah. So. These limes
are
coriander
from Fresh Union on there, but I left them at home.
Oh, for God's sake.
But the limes are from the boys, the chili crisp is from the boys, and the stuff that went in the stocks.
So,
sorry, Daniel, you carry on.
No, it's
thank you.
What's changed? Yeah, the attitude's changed. Yeah. I think the respect has changed. I think.
So no, but therapy. So Sat said you got to go.
Yeah, Sat said you've got to speak to this guy, Daniel, because he will do you the world of good. I was like, no, fuck off, Sat. I don't need to speak to this guy. No, Daniel, I really think you need to speak to this guy. Yeah. So I arranged a half-an-hour meeting with him. He came in. We had a chat. He used to be a journalist, so he was a really interesting character. I spent 9.5 hours with him.
Jesus.
Wow.
And we spent 2.5 hours talking about litter.
Wow.
And that 2.5 hours were just about why I get pissed off when I walk in the morning and someone hasn't picked up the litter outside the restaurant.
Yeah, right.
And he couldn't get his head around it. And I was like, but that really makes me angry. Why aren't they seeing it? Well, Daniel, if they were seeing it, they'd be you.
True.
It upsets you because you want them to be as good as you. But at the end of the day is, how would you be if you were them and you were 19 working for a psycho like you? Yeah. You'd be shitting yourself.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing. And it's until you sit down and speak to someone who's not involved in the day-to-day running. Like my wife is amazing because she comes in and she grounds me and she makes me think about things in a way that I haven't thought in years. Because is for me it's black or it's white. Yeah. And you've got to. Does it need the chili?
It needs all sorts.
Does it?
No, it's good.
Tom, is this going to be in your next book?
No, absolutely
not. Tom said the exact same thing. You know, he ran quite an aggressive kitchen the first 7-8 years, and then through his team had to kind of mellow down.
Yeah.
You've been absolutely incredible. We're going to finish off with your go-to location. I mean, we're going to have to do a part 2.
Yeah, we're going to have to come up.
There are too many stories. I mean, it's just been beautiful. It's been absolutely. This is Ben. You know, add the chili to it. It's actually got a bit of something to it.
We all right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
The coriander would have finished it.
Coriander would have been good. Imagine a bit of fine, little finely shredded spring onion.
I feel bad for the boys. They've sent such good stuff. And
well, the good news is I've got 3 episodes worth of stuff ready.
Okay.
It's not good news for Daniel because he's having to get his way through this. But next week.
So who's in for a treat?
Broken Promises next week.
Heston's in for a treat.
Oh, fucking hell.
Heston's in for a treat.
I won't be cooking for Heston.
Yeah. I will not be cooking.
2-star cunt in the corner.
Yeah. You guys a little bit of broth. Mr. Clifford, you've been wonderful. We're going to finish off with your go-to location. So if you guys get a night off and you're not cooking at home, where do you go to for like a weeknight thing? You guys are out sort of near Cambridge. Is there any place you go to for like a cheeky little kind of midweeker?
Yeah. There's a place called the Kebab Station.
Really?
Oh.
It's on I think it's the A10. It is the dodgiest location in the world.
Yeah.
It's right next to McDonald's. It is I found it. I have a autistic boiler serviceman.
Wow. Right?
And we have a love and hate relationship because he's autistic. He's so fucking honest.
Right. Yeah.
So if he doesn't like you, he tells you to your face. And we sort of have a love-hate relationship where he likes me some days and then he turns up and he really doesn't like me. It's the weirdest. I say to my wife all the time, I don't want him fucking back. Daniel, he's the best. Okay. So back. So I'm going to decide that I'm not going to be there next time he comes. But he loves to give me restaurant recommendations.
Really?
And I don't know to believe him or not. So one day I said to myself, right, okay, we're going to take him up on this. And there's a place called the Kebab Station. And it is literally kebabs. But it's not kebabs as we know it. It's not kebabs going round. And I can't eat a doner kebab because I know too many stories about it. But a shish kebab I actually really
beautiful.
like. But this is not like how kebabs used to be in a pit of bread and salad. This is grilled over open fire. Right. The guy who runs it he's a fucking master at what he does. Yeah. And the meat is beautiful. The chips are beautiful. The salads that come out and the breads that come out, you can see they're all freshly made.
Yeah.
There's no bullshit here. There's no, it's not, the plates aren't, the place looks like it should be condemned, but I'll be honest with you, the food is absolutely off the charts. And every time I mention it, like my daughter, she's quite fussy.
Yeah.
I say it, they look at me with 2 heads, and then they go and they're like, "Yep, that's right." My stepson, it's his go-to place now. My staff have all fallen in love with it, and I think, do you know what's lovely about this is when you look at the guy, he's so humble.
Yeah.
But he's mastered the art of grilling pieces of chicken and pieces of lamb over open fire. Now, the end of the day is, in London, this place would have fucking shot off. It would have gone off because, TikTok would have got hold of it and you'd have had a queue outside. Yeah. In some ways, I don't really want to talk about it because I don't want it to become that place. Because I feel
sold it in too well. People are going to be going out there.
The milkshake itself, I would drive. It's a 25-minute drive from my house. Yeah, but I'll be honest with you. Yeah, but it's worth that 25 minutes.
Oh. Well, we'll be on there. I mean, not to ruin it, but I'm heading up there. What about if you're having a blowout, big celebratory supper when that 3rd Michelin star comes in? Where are you going?
The best meal of my life. hands down, was Francine in Stockholm.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just. I had.
We're going to see the big man, aren't we?
We are, yeah.
Yeah.
So what made it so? Yeah. What made it so?
Do you know something? What made it is Stockholm is beautiful.
Yeah.
I was on a weekend away with my wife, which we don't get very often. We had flown in. The only plan we had was Francine for lunch. We staying in this weird hotel, a little bit weird. It was like not my cup of tea, but it was bohemian and plants everywhere and a bit different. But what was magical is when we went downstairs, when we got dressed for dinner the night before, we didn't know where to go, so we said to them, where should we go? And we ended up in this Scandinavian restaurant where it looked like we were on a cruise liner. They're all wearing white jackets, like proper posh.
Yeah.
And it was like meatballs, but with people with white jackets on it. It was off the chart brilliant. And then we went to this cocktail bar, which we didn't know at the time was in the world's top 50 cocktail. But we didn't know it at the time. We went in there and we felt like we're the oldest. We're the oldest people in the bar. We're sitting on the thing, watching all the youth of today drinking these expensive drinks, and we're trying to people watch, and it was beautiful because we both sat there and had the most amazing time. Then we got up and we went to Francine, and I'd work at Francine tomorrow.
Really?
I would, yeah. It's off the charts brilliant. It's just every single box is ticked and double ticked. The entrance, you walk in, there's someone to greet you. You get in the lift, they're playing fucking Metallica. You go upstairs, there's a different vibe. They bring a beautiful crisp bottle of crew to your table, pour it, take you over to the ingredients. The ingredients are amazing. Take you downstairs. Every mouthful is a fuck you moment where you're like, oh my God, that is the best. I went to the toilet. I had the truffle toast. If you're seeing him, get the truffle toast.
Oh, fucking
and
get
then
it.
It's the most beautiful mouthful of food I've ever had. I went to the toilet and I said to my wife, I think that is the best thing I've ever eaten. When I came back, the head chef put another one in front of us. I was like, oh my God.
Were you like emotional, crying?
that's
I
so
nearly
cool.
shot my load, I'll be honest with you.
Really?
That fucking-
Fair play.
It was amazing. I loved it. And then
You're saying you're not having a similar reaction with this?
No,
There's no need for
I'm
that.
taking
Come on.
that home.
Sorry.
But I'll be totally honest with you. I sat back from it and I just thought to myself, that's how restaurants should be.
Yeah.
The wine pairing was amazing, but nothing was overworked. Everything was beautiful ingredients, cooked really well. And then, the nice thing is, I don't do many lunches, but that was the first time I stood back and I thought to myself, lunch is amazing because you get all evening to think about it. When you go out for dinner, you have dinner and then you finish at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and then you go to sleep and you don't think about it.
Yeah.
We sat in our hotel room and we just talked about
going
that
through
meal
it.
for like 6 hours, like the wine pairings, why it was so good, why this worked, why that, and it sort of doubled the intensity of how good it was because I sat back from it and just said, you remember so much because it's here, but if you go to sleep, you forget. It's like we went to Jason's for lunch, and I don't know what it is about lunch. I think lunch is my new go-to because I went to Jason for lunch and then you got all evening to discuss it again. Like this dinner bullshit. Maybe we should just close for dinner. But I think...
You're going to become a lunch place.
Yeah.
Sole lunch place.
Well, to be honest with you, lunch is cheaper, so we are busier at lunch. And I think that's where things are going right now. But yeah, I thought Francine was amazing. Yeah, that's my go-to.
Daniel, you've been wonderful. Just quickly, obviously, that sounds like the dream weekend. But if you were going to do another foodie dream weekend, anywhere you'd go, anywhere you'd recommend?
So the next road trip, we are talking about... my friends are a different league to me, so I'm sort of like the one that's hanging in there. But they haven't got 5 kids, so 7 kids between them. So is
could be 8 before we leave.
Yeah, lifestyle is different, but we are talking about getting the cars to ship to Italy and then driving back from Italy. And there is a 3-star restaurant where Claire has the chef's daughter working for her at the moment. It's the one where they do the pasta and the parmesan, but it's a 3-star.
Right,
I haven't explored in Italy, so I'm really excited
That's
about
quite a good power move.
Yeah,
if they don't give you sort of a couple of free pits, you just get rid of the daughter.
But then she's also organised us to go to Parmesan and go to Balsamic. And look, that's where I'm at my happiest. That's when I'm still learning.
So through sort of Bologna, that region.
Yeah, and then we're gonna then apparently we're gonna like head towards Monaco and then go to Nice and work our way up. And it's just like,
is there room for one more car?
Our little Citroen Saxo.
If you can pay for us.
Yeah. No, I think that's the next trip.
Wow.
But I'm hoping, my fingers crossed, the place I've always wanted to eat to. It's my birthday this year. We're away, and I'm pretty sure that my wife's trying to get us a table at Ducasse in Monaco. And I think that is.
She doesn't seem so
no,
sure.
She
was thinking more the kebab place.
Yeah. Well, no, do you know something? I think.
I know he loves it there.
Yeah. I think. Do you know something? There's a book by Alain Ducasse, La Riviera de Alain Ducasse, and I bought it when I was 19. I've never read it. I've looked at the pictures because it's in French. I'll be honest with you, Ducasse is a man that I wrote Ducasse every month when I was in France. I'll finish on this story. So I wrote Ducasse every month when I was in France because I was obsessed with working for him. I thought he was the most technically brilliant chef. And he opens a restaurant and he gets 3 stars instantly. He's brilliant.
Did he do a Burton race on you? He never replied.
No, I got a letter every month back saying, your CV is on file when the job comes. So move on 25 years later, Midsummer's all going really well, and Alain Ducasse is opening up in London, and obviously I'd won 2 stars at this point. I got invited to the opening dinner where he had all the 1, 2 and 3 star chefs in the country. Like, how big are your bollocks if you can invite every single 1, 2 or 3 star chef in the country and say, this is Alain Ducasse, I've arrived.
Yeah.
And he like shaving truffles the size like this on, I'm sitting next to the director of Plaza Nafane, and he's French and I'm English, and I'm trying to, my French is okay.
Yeah.
I sound a bit like Del Boy, but I'm trying to talk to him. And he said, I told him the story. I said, I'm still waiting for my response. I said, I wrote to him every month, and every month he said to me, when a position comes available, we'll contact you. I said, look, it's 25 years later and he still hasn't contacted me. So he grabbed my arm, took me into the kitchen, and in the kitchen there was Frank, who was the chef from Monaco, Alain Ducasse, and I can't remember the name, Jocelyn, who was opening up, and it was like, and Alain Ducasse there was with his white hair, and I remember walking into this kitchen, it was all white tabletops, and it was like, oh my God, this is Alain Ducasse.
Yeah.
This is amazing, I'm going to meet Alain Ducasse. I still get giddy like that. I still get so excited. So yes, my bucket list this year is we're going down because I like to fish, and I have to. My wife is so sympathetic towards me because I'm a nightmare to live with. I know that. I know I go off when I want to do things I want to do. I just do it anyway.
Yeah.
Seems like you put your own birthday.
Yeah. So I'm planning my own birthday now. I'm sort of telling her where I want to go. I have told her, but yes, I want to go to Ducasse because that is my dream destination.
So an afternoon fishing, and then you'll be into Ducasse for dinner.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Or lunch.
Or lunch, actually. Sorry.
Yeah, lunch.
Fish in the evening.
No, so then we go. I
Go for a night fish.
Yeah, go for a night fish. Yeah, so no, amazing.
Go taste? I mean,
The go-to 3-course meal.
Yeah.
The finest 3 courses you've ever eaten. What would be on that menu?
The truffle toast from Francine for sure.
Yeah, twice. You'd have that twice.
I'd have that as my canapé and my starter. Then I would have probably Kaufman's trotter.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever eaten. Yeah, Kaufman's trotter. But I'd have a fish course as well.
Yeah, you add courses.
I would probably have the langoustine dish from the Ritz because I think that is just harmony of ingredients, beautiful. I love that dish. Trotter, and then I would have... I'd have a souffle because it would piss that off. Yeah, I'd have Claude's souffle with the bibendum on top.
I think Kerry went for a souffle as well, didn't he?
Just to piss that off.
He would say to piss that off.
Yeah.
Oh, was that Claude?
No,
Yeah, it was
definitely Claude.
Yeah, no, it's Claude. Yeah, it's Claude.
Definitely. Claude would have a souffle.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, it would be either a souffle or a tartare.
Yeah.
I think it depends what the season is. I think if it was a winter, I would have a tartare.
Yeah.
If it was a summer,
Souffle.
I think I'd have a souffle.
When it's all
Or
locked.
just vanilla ice cream, just beautifully churned vanilla ice cream.
No, I like the idea of pissing set off with the souffle.
Yeah.
Have a bit of vanilla ice cream on the side.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Danny, you've been absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for
Thank you
coming
very
in. Good luck for service this
pleasure.
evening. Good luck with everything.
you.
Hopefully see you again. We're going to get a little Citroen and try to join this incredible Porsche Ferrari motorcade next year. That's all we've got time for. We've obviously signed up Daniel. He signed the contract to Blink, which is brilliant. If you guys want to get involved, use the code GoToBlink.
Go for it.
And get a free month. Please subscribe on YouTube, on the podcast. Leave us a comment. And the last question is, what song do you want us to play you out with?
Song's a really good choice because I've been trying to get a playlist for the restaurant, and my wife, I'll be honest with you, I sat on the train on the way down here and I picked out 60 tunes.
Wow.
As we was walking from the radio thing, I gave her one earpiece and me one earpiece.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing. I've never had music in the restaurant. 27 fucking years. She's convinced me to put music in the restaurant. So I've done these 60 fucking tunes. What about this one? No. What about this one? No. What about this one? No. What about this one? No.
Is there anything left?
No,
Nothing.
no, fucking not one. You know what he said to me? I think they need to be instrumental. What the fuck? I would go for Radiohead Creep.
Beautiful.
Daniel, thank you so much, mate. You're
Thank
absolute
you
legend.
very much.
Oh my God, the chili's gone.
It's all right.
Don't worry about it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.